Hello, everyone. Today, I'm going to show you three tricks that will make you feel like you have superpowers in Excel. Let's dive right in. In this first tip, I'm going to show you how to do a selective row delete. Sometimes you just want to get rid of all this data. However, you would end up deleting the data in these columns. And in this example, for instance, I want to do a lookup later on to find out where these IP addresses are in these regions. So if I delete this by selecting all of this, I'm going to lose the data in these two columns. However, there's a way. So what I'm going to do is highlight the data that I want to delete and hold Shift and Control together. And once I go to the edge of this selected data, you see it changes. And what I'm going to do is to just drag all this up here. And as simple as that, that data is deleted without having to delete what I have in the other columns. In this second example, I'm just going to show you a very quick way to create charts in Excel. So for this data, let's say I just want to create a quick chart to visualize the data for 2025. I'll just highlight this data set as so, and I'll just hit Alt and F1, and instantly we see that I have a graph created here. But the trick that I really want to show you is just in case you would like to also include the 2024 sales in this chart, all you have to do is highlight, Control C to copy the data, and select on the graph, and Control V to paste. And just like that, we have data for 2 years. You can include the legend, and that way you're able to see which colors are for 2024 sales and which colors are for 2025 sales. For the final tip, I would like to show you a slightly more advanced feature in Excel, and it's called wildcards. In this example, I have a word list in this column, and we will be doing all these five activities together. And then I'll show you a practical example of how we can use wildcards to speed up our work in Excel. So here I want to be able to only find and highlight four letter words only. So if I highlight this column, I'm going to hit Control H or Control F, whichever one works for you. And that brings up the find and replace dialog box. I'm just going to bring this here, center it, and maybe expand it a little bit. And the first activity we want to do here is we want to find four letter words only. So in this case, I'm going to be using the question mark. So there are three wildcards essentially in Excel. It's the asterisk, the question mark, question question mark, and the tilde. In this lesson, we're going to be covering mostly the question mark and the star. So here I want to find four letter words only. So the question mark represents one single character. And so if I type the question mark four times and I ensure that I check this option, which is to match entire cell content, and then I'm going to click on find all. But once more, I want to ensure that that column is selected. And I'm going to hit find all. And you notice that all of the words that have been found by Excel are four letter words. So moving on to the next example, it says find words that start with a DA. So here we're going to type in DA, and then because we're just looking for all the words that starts with a DA, we don't care about the length, whether it's four letter words or five letters or six letters, we don't care. So in this example, we're just going to use a star. And I'm not going to match the entire cell content this time. And I'm going to hit find all. And you're just going to see that it's words that have a DA, and any other thing after them doesn't matter what the length of the word is. It just looks for that. However, if we wanted to find words that start with a DA and are four letter words, we'll come back into the text field, and we put in two question marks. What we're trying to say here is any word that starts with a D and followed by an A and is a four-letter word. That's what we need to find. We have to check this option again. So I'll click this, and then I always want to ensure that I have this column selected, and then I'm going to click find all. And as you can see, I have only words that start with a D and an A and are four letters. So moving on to the next example, now we want to find words with A and N in the middle. So what we're just going to do here is take all this out and say middle. This words, we don't know how many characters are before AN, and we don't know how many characters are after it. So in this case, we will be using the asterisk, which means all. So we don't care about the length of characters before the letters A and N, and then we're going to type in A and N itself. And then we don't know the length of characters after the letters A N, so we're going to type in another asterisk, just one. And in this case, because we're not particular about the length, we're going to uncheck this option and select column A and find all. And as you can see, we have four-letter words and five-letter words that have an AN in between. So for the final activity, now we want to find words with the letters A and N in the middle. It could be in between. I think in between is the right word to use. And they're exactly four-letter words. So now we'll have to replace the asterisk with question marks. And now we're being very specific and we're saying just four letters. And we have to check this option that says match entire cell content. And then select this column again and click on find all. And as you can see, only words that have an AN in between and are exactly four-letter words are coming up. If you find this content useful, share with others, like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.